Okay, guys, so let's finally get started. Last lesson, we touched on income and expenditure, so we're going to continue with that a little bit. And we had started looking at this exercise over here. So like I normally say, whenever they give you a whole lot of information, first take your time, familiarize yourself with the content, see how they've given you information, what they've given you, what is all there. Try and make sense of it first before you worry about the questions. Okay, so if we have a look at this first table, it says Nikki owns a small grocery shop and produces a 2-month statement of income and expenditure at the end of each month as shown below. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a moment to look at it, especially for those that weren't here last lesson. Sorry. Okay, so while you are looking at this, if you're ready, I want you to try number 1. I know we did do it in the last lesson, but for those of you that are new, please can I ask you guys to try number 1. Keep your answers off the chat for now, and I'll let you know when you can let me know what your answers are. Okay, so let's try question 1 quickly. Okay, if you guys are ready, let me know what your answers are for A. Siwa, lightning fast. Great. Nice, Ayabonga. Amanda raised a hand. Amanda, do you want to ask a question? Just unmute yourself.
Ooh, okay. Hi, Amanda. I unmuted you. Maybe it was a mistake. Hi, Kamachelo.
Okay, guys, so I've seen a few answers in the chat and they are all correct so far, so well done. I'm going to quickly just go through it. But before I look at the question, I just want to quickly explain what we are looking at here. So as you can see, we've got a statement of income and expenditure. So that's a summary of Nikki's income and her expenses over 2 months. They've given us March's values as well as April. They've then also given us all the income that Nikki earns and her expenses. Okay, so the first thing we had to work out was A. And if we look at this block just in general, we can see that they've given us a total for income at the top here. So that means all of these amounts within this block must equal our total at the top there. So because we have a total and everything else, one way of working it out is taking your total of 75,501 and we can minus the rest. So you can sit there and say minus 9,513, or you can add all of those up together and then just minus that total. So either way, it is fine, but based on your answers, you guys understand anyway. So whatever you did, keep doing that. Again, we get method marks in Math Lit, so please always show you're working out. And if you do that working out, you get an answer of 41,733. Don't forget your rand sign. There are no decimals, so we don't need to stress. Okay, so that was a nice and easy one, I'd like to think. Again, I can see some more answers and they were all correct. Well done, everyone. Okay, so now let's look at the next question. It is calculate the difference in her expenses between the 2 months, and in other words, work out the value of B. So B is all the way over here. So with this statement of income and expenditure, it's slightly different because they've added a difference column. Normally they just give you what the expenses and incomes are, but now they're showing us how those differed from month to month. So they've asked us to work out the difference between April and March. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys to try that for me quickly. Steffi, that is perfectly okay. You can do whatever method. As long as you show some working out and you get into the right answer, it doesn't matter how you work it out. Okay, if you guys have the answer, you can let me know in the chat. Oh, that was quick, fast. Nice, Apiwe. Brilliant. Nice, Ayabonga. Yes, nice, guys. Okay, so I've only seen right answers, so that is fantastic. We have to work out the difference between April and March. Now, naturally, you would want to take March's amount minus April, but remember, we always take the current month. So April would be the more current month minus the older month. Okay, so it would be 22,470 minus 21,930. Okay, they asked for the difference. So if you weren't sure what was happening in the table, the word difference could have also given you a clue. Difference means minus. Okay, and that gives you an answer of 540 rand. Okay, but it looks like you guys are really understanding this. Well done. Okay, then question 3 is all the way at the bottom there. It says, how much did Nikki spend on pamphlets in April? In other words, work out the value for C. Okay, and C is over here. Oops, let me get my pen. Okay, so don't put it in the chat yet, but let's work out C so long. Nice, Kamahelo. Okay, guys, if you're ready, you can put your answers in the chat. Yes, nice. Nice, Asanda. Good. Okay, so it looks like we all killing it again with this. So working out C was very similar to the same method as working out A. Okay, so same thing. We have a total for this block, which is our 22,470, and everything in this block needs to add up to that. So we have all the other values, so we can just take our total and minus them. So we should get 22,470 minus, again, various ways you can do it. Do whatever method makes sense to you. Okay, and the answer should be 1,595. Nice, everyone seems to get that. So well done, guys. That was a really good little exercise. Looks like you all understand. Okay, and in general, if you look at the statement that was given to you, all you really needed to know what was the difference between income and expenditure. What is income? What is expenditure? And at the end of the day, you just had to read all the answers was given to you. So you couldn't really study for a question like this. So that's why I always say just take some time to familiarize yourself with everything, and then deal with the questions. I see a raised hand. Do you have a question for us?
I'm also Christopher.
Do you want to unmute?
Yes, I do have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I don't understand the amount there that you got at A. I was still struggling with the network.
Oh, okay. So for A was very similar to what we did with C now. Okay, so if you see where A is over here, again, we have a total for that column, the total for all the incomes. Okay, and all the incomes are in this block. So we know that everything here, our fruit and veg, our bakery, magazines, cold drinks, and groceries need to total 75,501. And we're just missing the groceries amount. So we're just taking the total and we're minusing all the others, because that will give us what we are missing, which is A. Does that help? Does that make sense?
Please send us a thumbs up in the chat.
Okay. While we're waiting to see. So okay, let's check. Cool. Thanks, Siwa. All right, so moving on, still dealing with income and expenditure, but it says we can use income and expenditure to determine profit and loss of a business. Okay, so there are two ways in which you can work out profit or loss, and these two formulas you need to know off by heart. They're never going to give you these formulas, so maybe take a moment to screenshot or write them down quickly. But you would be expected to know these. So if I gave you information on incomes and expenses, you would use the first formula. So profit will equal your income minus your expenses. But that also helps you work out loss. It all depends. If your expenses are more than the income, it means you're making a loss. But if your income is more than your expenses, then you are making a profit. So this works both ways. It all depends on your answer. Okay, so if you end up with a negative answer, for example, you're making a loss. Positive answer, you're making a profit. Okay, but if we're looking at a scenario where we're talking about cost price and selling price, then we'll look at the second formula that's on the screen. Okay, you'll say selling price minus your cost price. So it all depends on the content in the question on which formula you'll use. Okay, but again, you need to know these formulas off by heart. Are you ready to try some questions? Okay. So let's look at this scenario. Mr. Dube runs his own transport business. He owns one taxi and he employs Sanele as a taxi driver. So again, they've given us some information. Just take a moment to look at what has been given to us. Okay, so it's a slightly different setup to the last exercise, but again, same kind of information. They've given us some income information as well as some expenditures. Okay, obviously different expenses because it's a different type of business, but this is a very simple table compared to the other one. All right, so looking at question 1, it says calculate the total expenditure on taxi maintenance. So always remember, maybe highlight, we're looking at total expenditure, but not overall, just on taxi maintenance. I'm going to ask you guys to try that quickly by yourselves. Don't put your answers in the chat just yet. But, you know, if you feel like maybe speaking to me and telling me your answer, I'd really love that. So, you know, here's to hoping. Hey, Kia, aren't you tired?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we can only hope and pray.
Okay, if you have your answers, you can either tell me or you can put them in the chat.
Siwa is so quick. Just like how we remember Siwa.
Yep.
Oh, where's everyone else?
Hopefully still calculating. Nice, Piwe.
Apiwe showed all calculations. Love it.
Nice, Michle. Oh. Nice. Okay, looks like we're all getting the same answers and they're all correct. Okay, so normally they actually ask you to work out the total expenditure, but now specifically they just wanted the maintenance expenditure. So that would be the fuel amount, the repairs amount, and the service amount. So we just add them together. Just remember to show all your working out. I know I stress this all the time, but it is very important. Okay, and those are your 3 amounts, and you get a total, which you all did get, of 3,441.49 cents. Okay, looks like everyone was happy and confident with that. Now, oh, a little bit of a recap from the last lesson. List the fixed expenses. I'll give you a clue. There should be 4. Okay, so have a look at the list. Okay, if you guys want to let me know what they are. Insurance, well done, Asanda. Insurance is 1, the taxi insurance. Anything else?
I think Apiwe just needs to read the question again. We have 3 more to go, guys. Don't be shy. Drop those answers.
Okay, so we're all getting insurance. The license fee, that is 1, good. License fee again, I see service contract, that's also 1. I think we have covered most of them. Okay, so fares collected isn't going to be fixed because we can't guarantee that they are going to make the same trips with the same amount of people. So the money coming in is going to be variable. But again, fares collected is income. So that's also one thing. They want to know fixed expenses. Okay, so we can't say fares. I think salaries is a little bit touch and go with this one because they didn't specify if he's paid per trip or whatnot. So I think for this example, we can include the salary because it looks like it's fixed. Yeah, because they don't mention much about it. So we can probably assume. All right, so let's just clarify. I'm just going to highlight the ones we said. So we said it is the service contract. Sorry for the skew. Highlighting insurance, the license fee, taxi association fee. Those are always going to be the same. Fixed expenses, they are always the same. Okay, good. So we mostly got that right. Then calculate the total expenditure for the month. Okay, so now we're looking at all the expenses. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, if you have your answers, you can let me know. Siwa, top form answer, well done. Nice, Asanda. Yes, Offense, well done. Okay, so the answers that I am seeing are all correct. So I'm just going to quickly go through it. We have to work out all the expenses. So that means we have to go and add all these amounts together. So remember to always show working out. Oh, sorry. So you write all the amounts down. So it's the 2,875,40 plus the 446. Plus the last amount of 50. And you get an answer of 10,396,94. Okay, so a question like that would probably be 2 marks, 1 for your working out, 1 for your answer. Okay, then looking at question 4. If Sanele is due a salary increase of 8%, what will his new salary be next month? Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to try that. Don't put your answer in the chat just yet.
Okamoso already has an answer for us. And Siwa. And Nokwanda. Loving these fast fingers.
Hey, I see we all jumped the gun. And we got the answer of 5,940, which is amazing. I'm so glad you guys are understanding how to work with percentages, because that's always a struggle. So well done. Anyone want to explain how they did it by any chance? Okay, wait, good. Thanks for that working out. So you can do the short kind of method where you take the salary of 5,500 and you times by 108%. Okay, or the longer method, which makes sense to some people. I also prefer this way. You take the salary times by the 8%. So just this bracket's going to give me the increase in the salary. Then I add it back to the salary to get the new total salary. And then you should get 5,940. Okay.
Yes, Riri and Nokwanda, you guys are absolutely correct.
All right. So you guys are doing so well. This looks like your topic. Nice, guys. Now, the big question. What we need to really ask ourselves at the end of every month as a business owner. Are we making a profit or a loss? That's the whole point of a business, is to make a profit, right? So question 5, determine through calculations if Mr. Dube's business makes a profit or a loss for the month. Okay, so just some working out. You should know some profit and loss formulas. So you need to decide which one you're going to use and then quickly calculate it and let me know your answers in about 2 minutes. I want everyone to try it first.
She was asking to see the table again.
Oh, sorry. That makes sense. Okay, if you guys are ready, you can let me know your answers.
Siwa already dropped an answer.
Good, Akwanda gave me the full answer. Remember, there's two parts to this question. Some calculations involved, but then you need to tell me something else. Good, Siwa. Thanks for adding that in. Anyone else want to share their answers? Or if there are any questions? Nice, guys. Yes. Nice answers. Okay, so let's go through this quickly. They asked us to work out if a profit or loss has been made. So remember, I gave you a formula or two formulas, but because in this scenario, we spoke about incomes and expenses only, we will use the income minus expenses formula. Okay, so you must just know that that's the formula and when to use it. And your total income is 23,742 minus 10,392.94, which gives you a positive amount of 13,345.06. Okay, that's just the calculation. Because I ended up with a positive amount and not a negative amount, we can say, therefore, Mr. Dube made a profit. Okay, so there were two parts to that question, and most of you did remember. Okay, so you would get marks for your calculations and then for the actual answer, which is what they were looking for. Did he make a profit or not? Well done, guys. You're really killing it with this topic. Okay, so now let's just remember we've gone through income and expenditure. Okay, and now we've looked at how to work out profit and loss using our income and expenditure amounts. Okay, now we have other costs that could influence income and expenditure, and that is our cost price and selling price. We've learned this before in grade 10 and 11, but just a reminder, you can maybe take a screenshot of these definitions. Cost price is the amount that it costs per unit to either manufacture or purchase an item or to prepare for a service that will be delivered. Sorry, there's a typo there. And then selling price is the price at which something is offered for sale. So cost price is how much does it cost you to make your product that you're wanting to sell, or how much does it cost you to produce that service? Okay, so how much does it cost you to provide something to the customer? Selling price is how much you're going to sell it to the customer for, how much you want to make for that product in simple terms. Okay, but just remember, they can ask you some definitions in an exam, so it's always important to try and remember them as many as possible. Okay, so now let's look at this in some activities. Let's try some questions. So it says, a local high school tuck shop sells ice creams during break time to raise funds for a sports tour. They bought a box of 250 ice creams for 255 Rand. They sold them at 3 Rand each. Okay, so now before we even look at the questions, they've given us some information. Okay, they've given us the selling price and the cost price. Which one is our cost price? What amount there is our cost price? Who can tell me what the cost price is in the situation? So I see two answers there, but that's not a price. That's how many ice creams they bought. See what good, Chloe, good. Okay, I see the right answers coming in. So it's always good to identify these things before we start the questions. Here's our cost price, okay? So this is abbreviated as CP, cost price, making the 3 Rand our selling price. Okay, but now let's just keep in mind the cost price is for 250 ice creams, whereas the selling price is just the price for one ice cream. So let's not get confused with that, but nothing major. Okay, so now that we've looked at our information, let's look at question 1. It says, calculate the cost price for one ice cream. Round your answer up to the nearest 10 cents. So there's two things we need to focus on in this question. Cost price, we need to work that out. Oh, okay, I see it's highlighting weird. Cost price for one ice cream. So let's focus on that first before we worry about rounding our answer. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to quickly try that for me. Okay. For those of you that have answered already, can I ask you to look at one keyword that I'm about to highlight? Anyone else want to give us some answers? We've got some very close answers. It's just rounding that has caught us. Okay. Okay. I was about to say, Asanda, whew, it's a very expensive ice cream. Okay. So I'm seeing some right answers here to a point, but the rounding is off. So let's have a look at this quickly. So we can see that it is 255. Sorry, let me just get highlighted. 255 Rand for 250 ice creams. So to work that out, we will need to say 255 okay, divide by 250. So we can work out the price of one ice cream, which gives you, which most of you did get, 1 Rand. Sorry guys, my pencil just stopped working for 2 seconds. 1 Rand and 2 cents. But now they've asked you to round the answer in quite a weird way compared to what we used to. They said round your answer up. Naturally, when we see 0.2, we want to make it 1 Rand. But because they said round up to the nearest 10 cents, our nearest 10, because we're rounding up the nearest 10 cents, it's going to make it 1 Rand and 10 cents. Okay, but normally if they said round your answer to the nearest Rand, you would say 1 Rand then. Okay, but because they asked it weirdly and said round your answer up, so they're forcing you to move it up to the nearest 10 cents. And the nearest 10 cents is 10 cents, 1 Rand and 10 cents. Okay, so for the most part, most of you did get to the actual answer, but then the rounding threw you off a little bit. Okay, but it's only weird because they specifically told you to round up. Okay, but otherwise your rounding wasn't too bad. Everyone happy with that question? If not, let us know in the chat or raise your hand and unmute. If not, have a look at question 2 so long. I'm going to ask you to quickly try that for me.
Siwa couldn't wait. Siwa already has an answer for us.
Hey. If you have your answers already, let's hear them or see them.
Drop them like they're hot in the chat, guys.
Good. Okay, so normally with selling price, we would say the amount you want to sell a product for. That's a general definition. But because they've mentioned a price in this question as well as related to the context. So when they mention context, I mean related to the scenario, related to the story. Okay, so that's 2 key things there. So you can say the tuck shop, this is the amount the tuck shop wants to sell the ice creams for, or the tuck shop wants to sell the ice creams for 3 Rand, or the ice creams are being sold for 3 Rand. So just mentioning that it's ice creams that are being sold and the price of the ice creams. So this is the price, or the price that customers are going to buy the ice creams for, 3 Rand, something along those lines. You don't have to push the amount in so much, but you need to mention that it's ice creams being sold. So the price of the ice creams. Good, Asanda. Just, yeah, that's actually a very beautiful answer. Well done. Nice, Luther and Imihle and Siwa. Well done, guys. Beautiful. Beautiful definitions and answers. Okay. See, so I told you they can ask you some definitions every now and then. So I'm glad you guys picked up on that. Question 3. Calculate the profit they made if 250 ice creams were sold. So I don't know if I need to move up. Okay. So remember profit, there are two formulas. You need to decide which one you're going to use now for this question. And I want you guys to try it by yourselves quickly. Okay, so I'm seeing some different answers.
Very different answers.
And one of them is correct. Okay, we are going to go through it now, so don't stress just yet. Well done, Nakwanda. Okay, so let's have a look. Profit in this instance, or the scenario, the formula we'll use is profit is equal to our selling price minus our cost price. But now remember, we only have, well, we do have the cost price of 1. But if we were confused with question 1 and we didn't get that right, we'll need to look at the story again. So remember, we have the cost price for 250 ice cream. So I'm just going to put that in so long. Let's give some more space. Okay. So I've got my formula. Cost price is the 255 Rand. That's for the 250 ice creams. Selling price, the only thing we know about selling price is that's 3 Rand for 1. So we need to save 3 Rand times by the 250 ice creams. Sorry, I didn't save enough space there. Okay. So 3 times the 250 ice creams minus the cost price of the 250 ice creams. Okay, so it was important that we first had to times that. So that would give us 750 Rand minus the 255, which means you would make a profit of 495 Rand. Okay, so that was only tricky in the sense that we had to remember to times our selling price by the amount of ice creams. Okay, so if we sold all the ice creams we bought, we want to know what the profit would be. Okay, does that make sense? Is everyone happy with that? Okay, let's try one last question for today. If you still need help with question 3, let me know in the chat. So 4A is going to be our last question for today. Let's give it a shot. Oh, beautiful answers. Well done, guys. Okay, so for this one, we're working out income. Remember, income is the money that is coming into the business, so coming into the tuck shop. That means we're looking at selling price specifically, because every time they sell one ice cream, they are getting 3 Rand in to their business. So we take the selling price, the 3 Rand, times by how many ice creams they sell, which is 120, which gives you an income of 360 Rand per day. And I can see most of you got that right. Okay, so sometimes people get confused between which number to use, but income is related to the selling price. Okay, because that's the money coming into your business. So how does everyone feel about income, expenditure, profit and loss, cost price and selling price? Let us know in the chat how you feel about today's lesson.